YouTube has been riddled with drama through the years. It's practically been built off it. Most Minecraft YouTubers are PDF files, the makeup community has a whole lore of stealing from their fans.
Hi all, James here.
And many have gone to jail. I have to start where drama really started building up. When turned down for what, Kids React, General Marbles, cheap production value, and the Ice Bucket Challenge ruled the space. 2014. This year wasn't all peaches and sunshine though. There are YouTubers that went to jail, major hacks shutting down entire companies, threats of death, a potential war, and stealing from fans. Many of these things were big deals beyond YouTube, but all were a core part of the YouTube community.
What a fucking...
2014 is when big scandals and events started popping up. The biggest drama of the year comes from a name you haven't heard in a while, Lizard Squad. Lizard Squad was a menace this year. Their hacking squad, most known for DDoSing gaming-related services, very similar to Anonymous if you remember them. I'll go piece by piece of what they did and then talk about what happened to them after. So to start things off peachy, they made a bomb threat to a flight that had a Sony executive on it. They were on Twitter stating, "At American Airlines, we have been receiving reports that plane number 362 has explosives on board." It made it seem like they were the saviors, but it was almost for sure just a target of harassment on Sony. No bombs were found, and it's a pretty severe crime to make false bomb claims on a plane. A man who's done similar things had a $314,000 fine and 18 months prison time. This was really common though. Lizard Squad loved to go after PlayStations particularly. They harassed the ever-living crap out of them. Lizard Squad also took down Xbox Live and PlayStation Network. It began with what they claim was a small attack in the beginning of December, warning of a future Christmas attack. When everyone got their consoles on Christmas, they attacked again, with it lasting almost a full day where everyone was kicked offline. Lizard Squad also started toying with some crazy stuff and took down the whole North Korean internet for a day, which I'm just surprised didn't cause a counter cyber attack or anything bigger. Not that they have a lot of internet to take down in the first place, but I feel like messing with a man-child dictator is not a good idea. Some good the group did is taking down League of Legends servers. Some troglodytes finally got some vitamin D that day, and who knows, maybe one of them even filled out a job application. They also took down Destiny servers, Dota, RuneScape, Black Ops 2, as well as Machinima.com, replacing their logo with a version of their Blizzard logo. They also DDoSed Daybreak Studios, which ran H1Z1 and PlanetSide 2. They hacked the Malaysian Airlines website, where users were directed to another page with an image of Lizard Squad and text saying, "Hacked by Cyber Caliphate. Follow Cyber Caliphate on Twitter." I'm gonna spitfire a few other ones they did. They hacked Stevo's Twitter, World of Warcraft got taken down, Twitch taken down, Battle.net taken down. The reasoning isn't any Robin Hood situation or Anonymous taking down corporations for doing moral wrongs. They really just did it because they can. So all in all, a pretty lame group doing lame things. Some of the Lizard Squad members did get into some crazy shit though. They didn't have any affiliation with Lizard Squad when they did all these things, but they were still members, so I count it. Zachary Butchta was facing 10 years in prison, but he decided to sing and help FBI arrest other Lizard Squad members, and only faced 3 months in jail and a $350,000 charge for lost profits from Riot Games and Blizzard. He was convicted of being a hacker for hire, charging $20 per month for phone bombs. And what a phone bomb is that you get called every hour on the hour about threats to your life or threats to your family and just general violence. One of the messages being, "When you walk the streets, motherfucker, you better look over your back, because I don't give a flying fuck if we have to burn your fucking house down. If we have to fucking track your goddamn family down, we will your shit up, motherfucker." A man received this message every hour for 30 days. This is genuinely so scary if you were the victim. You weren't able to block the number either because every call came from a different number. He also stole credit cards. Even though he helped the FBI, he deserved way more than 3 months. He's a lunatic. 17-year-old Julius Kimaki was found guilty of 50,700 charges of cybercrime. He's spending 6 years in prison for stealing 30,000 patients' confidential therapy notes and then ransoming the company, asking for 400,000 euros to not release them. When they refused, he emailed every patient asking 200 euros to not release the notes. This is what got him caught. He then proceeded to harass the Stratter family for 3 years. He had cops come for fake threats, and one time had thousands of people call her for a free Tesla. This guy is a piece of crap. I genuinely don't feel like 6 years is enough. That's all the major things Lizard Squad did. They did a lot of other minor things, but honestly, pretty lame group that just harassed people. Also, just to cover myself, this was all alleged. Kinda. Not really. Never knew how far this rabbit hole went with Lizard Squad. Kinda thought it was just DDoSing. It's pretty interesting, all the crimes and harassment they did. White Boy 7th Street used to be a big YouTuber on the site. Now he's pretty irrelevant. However, he was part of the first big swatting that was live streamed, which if I continue the series will be a common occurrence. Swatting is when someone calls the police saying something along the lines of there being an active shooting or anything serious enough to send SWAT to someone's house. Whiteboy 7th Street was the first to be swatted live on Twitch. He then got arrested for possession of weed. Luckily charges were dropped, but this whole situation was pretty serious. And the start of a dangerous trend, pranks. A lot of YouTubers posted videos saying things along the lines of, "This is what you get for doing drugs, kids." Which is just ironic since most of them smoke now, and it was just a virtue signal. Most YouTubers were sorry for him though, and just hoped good luck for him with the charges since they were BS. They only found weed, which was a minor amount because they broke into his house under a false pretense. Faze Rain got his phone number leaked by Faze Adapt in a vlog. He somehow made and edited a video that had his phone number zoomed in. Faze Rain got called a lot and he had to get a new number. That's really it for this drama. There'll be a lot of dramas like this, by the way, that will just be kind of cliff notes. I think it's a nice change of pace between the serious ones. Next. The Creatures office got swatted. Creatures were a big group of YouTubers of the past overheaded by Rooster Teeth. They ended over 7 years ago, but with most members not posting anymore. Kootra was live on Twitch when the swatting happened. When SWAT came in with some big boy guns yelling to get on the ground and such. 911 was called for an active shooting of multiple victims. Kootra reacted as well as he could, just doing what he's told. This was a disgusting trend of the past, a waste of taxpayer money, waste of SWAT's time, and a good chance of something bad to happen. But imagine he had speakers while playing CSGO and the game just said, "Bomb has been planted." KSI broke up with Cena. It was a mutual breakup. I know we were all saddened by this. They were made for each other. KSI was so heartbroken by this that his hairline started receding. The next one might send chills down your spine, but #GamerGate. I always remember hearing about this a lot, but never really knew what it was about. Warning in advance, it's pretty convoluted, and I still don't fully understand it all. So, basically, Anita Sarkeesian made a Kickstarter, and made a series about story tropes and women in games, like the damsel in distress and the objectification of women, which, honestly, fair. She became a big spokesperson for feminism and women in gaming. She got TED Talks and a lot of spotlight. She helped really ramp up the discussion of women in gaming. So basically everyone's all riled up with the talks about how women are objectified and just mistreated in games and how they deserve better representation. But then Zoe Quinn made a pretty mad game. It's called the Depression Quest. This game didn't get much attention until like a year later. It got attention and a lot of praise from Kotaku. It was alleged by her ex that she slept with a Kotaku journalist that then showered the game with praise, making it popular. Kotaku denied this, saying the dude alleged didn't even write the article. There was an alleged incident of a PR agent sleeping with the head judge of a game festival and then the game winning. So then women jump into the discussion and talk about how women are misrepresented in games and that they're now receiving death threats. Game journalists also jump in and they start getting attacked by the gaming community, also receiving death threats. The game journalists state gaming is dead and paint them as cis white men. So then gamers get outraged by this by anti-gaming sites stereotyping them. This is where the term SJW, social justice warrior, got popularized. Gamers find more conflicts of interest with relationships in the industry. Gamers are mad that SJWs are deflecting the issue of corruption and turning it into a misogyny issue. The SJWs are mad about misogyny, harassment of women in the industry. So it was just two sides screaming about different things and getting a lot of hate on both sides, which, by the way, again, this all started from an allegation on a dude that never even wrote the article. It originated because of a good point of bad representation of women in games and turned into an acid pool of screaming at each other, death threats, misinformation, and just a general avoidance of each other's arguments. It was a big deal, then just dropped off and was irrelevant. This did start a big trend of right-wing ideology taking over the internet with SJW gets owned type content, as well as very reactionary communities.
I said certified freak 7 days a week. Wet ass P-word. These women are describing a serious gynecological condition.
Again, I told you, it's super convoluted, doesn't really make sense. Never will. People just screaming at each other. Faze Banks and Philip Defranco's Instagrams were hacked with a picture of a dude with a shoe on his head saying, "Hacked by Jerry Tillsman." I'm sure this was really LMAO, rawful for the time, but Jerry Tillsman is a perfect encapsulation of my elementary school humor. The movie The Interview almost started a war between the US and North Korea. A lot of things with North Korea this year. Before the release of the movie, North Korea threatened saying if you release the movie, it will be an act of war and they will have a decisive and merciless countermeasure. North Korea's cyber attacked the maker of the film Sony, stealing employee emails, personal info, unreleased films, and future plans. Sony later got sued and settled for $8 million for some of the personal data stolen. There were some threats of attacks at theaters that showed the film. Sony responded by doing limited theatrical release and went straight to digital. North Korea's response is honestly kind of understandable. They already hate the US. I mean, they've been at war with us since the Korean War, so I don't know, decades at this point. And then we just made a film calling out their propaganda machine and depicted the assassination of their leader. The movie is great though. It's one of my favorite comedies. This guy does Minecraft took a jab at Machinima for doing nothing for him as his network. This was before he was known as being an awful and horrible person. Back then, he was kind of a big spokesman for the community. And I think everyone knows by now that Machinima took advantage of a lot of YouTubers in early YouTube. Early YouTube didn't have any ad revenue, so you had to sign with an org like Machinima to get paid. They took most of the money, and the YouTuber got scraps with promises of them bringing in more traffic, sponsorships, and helping the YouTuber grow. In reality, they just took most of the money without adding anything. Once YouTube started paying creators, those YouTubers were still signed to Machinima and stuck for years getting screwed. So around this time, a lot of YouTubers were getting out of their contracts, and there's a big sentiment of hating Machinima and talking bad about it once their contract ended. YogsCast was one of the biggest Minecraft YouTube groups of the time. They are still moderately popular, but they used to be synonymous with Minecraft and released some really cool mod packs. They one time got too ambitious though, and stole $567,665 from their fans. They originally asked for $250 in a Kickstarter, so they smashed that goal. They planned to make a game called Yogs Ventures. The game being a Minecraft knockoff where you can build your own game like Roblox. So you can build your own adventure and then have your friends play with you. They had a team of 6 people and were very ambitious about when they could get it finished. But then they started stating delays for growing pains and being a new indie dev. They then pivoted after a good while, mind you, saying the game would be too hard to make for them to a new game called Tug, which was just a knockoff Minecraft with nothing cool about it. It was really just a scapegoat, so they had something to show for their money given. There were 5 people in the Kickstarter that pledged $10,000 for a lunch with the YogsCast. Tug also never released, so understandably there was a lot of outrage from the backers. They very rarely provided updates on either games. Eventually the devs just went silent. This was the biggest Kickstarter scam for the time. The reason this failed, however, was because of poor management. It's still unknown whether this was intentional or just incompetence. There was outrage about where the money went, and the studio behind it released a list of expenses, but it took a second-grade math education to realize that the numbers only amounted to $212,000. They say that $150,000 was supposed to be received to hire a new main developer and was never received by YogsCast. They then also hired an outside developer for $35,000, but then the dev started working for Lucasfilms, which he never finished his work and he still took the money. That still leaves $170,000 unaccounted for. Chris, the lead developer of the studio, stated on a forum that the game made his company go bankrupt, that he put in $25,000 of his own money into the project, the reason his wife left him, and then he also bought himself a new BMW at the same time of writing the post. So, make of that what you will. All in all, a pretty big promise with nothing to show. I hope the launch was worth it. You probably never heard of this, or at least not in a long time, but Mineorama was canceled. A lot of famous Minecraft YouTubers were supposed to go. It was a big event that had $500,000 in tickets vanish. They made promises of big Minecraft YouTubers showing up, and then on Twitter, the Minecraft YouTuber would be like, I'm not going to that, what do you mean? It kept getting rescheduled to later dates and later dates and later dates until it eventually got canceled. They deleted all their socials and just disappeared. Nobody got refunds from what I can find, and they filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. I think in a way to protect themselves from people asking for refunds. Basically just a big scam. The reason for cancellation is pretty obvious. They didn't have the money to pay for the space or the employees needed. Allen Iverson blew through $200 million, and he said he couldn't afford a cheeseburger. I feel like this was an over-exaggeration, and I'm sure he's fine on money, but it was something for a little bit. He also has a trust fund that once he turns 52, he'll get $32 million payout from Reebok, so he's fine. This year had a worldwide scare with Ebola. I still have my school project uploaded if you want to watch it. Ebola is a disease that had 50% mortality rate with a total death count of 15,000 people. It spread through direct contact as well as bats, where you would survive between 2 to 21 days if you contracted it. It's one of the worst ways to die, basically shitting yourself and vomiting until you're dead. It mostly spread across Africa. This was a big topic on YouTube of prayers going out and to be safe. There were a few scares where people that were helping stop the spread of it and helping those with it got infected and got on flights to the US where they got quarantined at the terminal. Didn't spread to anyone though. The whole people infected on flights really felt like Plague Inc., where that god just upgraded its air travel ability. There were even scares in the public of zombies, with hoaxes about victims being resurrected after being killed by the virus. This really showed the worry, however, if something as dangerous as Ebola was as contagious as COVID was, that we are pretty vulnerable as an entire species. I remember being genuinely scared by Ebola spreading. Luckily, we have countermeasures for Ebola, and from what I read, it's pretty easy to isolate an Ebola outbreak, at least for a first world country. The poor funding and infrastructure for some of these African countries affected is the reason it got as bad as it did. This was also brought into the meme culture with memes like, I hope you get Ebola. Same energy as eat a Tide Pod. I mean, it's old and boring now. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the rant. I really enjoyed making this video. I personally learned a lot I didn't know prior. I would love to make this a series, so please leave a like and consider subscribing if you enjoyed it. And if I missed anything, just let me know in the comments. I like reading them. Peace.